Holy smokes, I cannot express how excited I am making this video. Hey guys, Vimal here and welcome back to my channel. Your wait is finally over. AMD's brand new 7000 series Ryzen CPUs are in the house and this is what we'll be checking out in this video guys. We'll be building the very first Ryzen 7000 series gaming PC build on our channel and I'm like super excited to talk about all of this in this video. So as you can see, AMD has sent us their entire Ryzen 7000 series media kit over here. In fact, they've sent two brand new CPUs guys, a Ryzen 5 and Ryzen 9 from 7000 series along with their brand new platform motherboard as well, X670E, that supports AM5 socket guys, and this one is from Aorus. And along with that we also have like a brand new DDR5 RAM that is compatible with Ryzen 7000 series and a couple of other stuff. So before we actually dive in and start with the PC build, let me quickly tell you like what's exactly new on Ryzen 7000 series, what you can expect. First of all guys, everything has changed over here. The complete look and feel of the CPU, the socket design and the architecture, everything is brand new. So Ryzen 7000 series feature brand new Zen 4 architecture and also a brand new AM5 socket, and Zen 4 architecture is actually based on a 5nm TSMC process, 7 to 5nm shift guys. Huge improvement in the performance and also energy efficiency guys, because now it's based on a 5nm process, right? So on the overall, AMD is saying that compared to the last gen, now you're getting a IPC improvement of almost like 13% guys. So that is like a massive gain, like double digit number guys. So 13% shows a lot of promise, and apart from that you also have support for the brand new AVX 512 AI computational capabilities guys, machine learning and these sort of stuff. So talking about AM5 socket guys, AM5 socket is now finally based on LGA 1718 design. So pins are finally on the motherboard guys instead of the CPU. So now you only have like contacts behind AMD's Ryzen CPU. So this is actually a good thing, much easier while building PCs and at least from my perspective. So these were the major changes to the design and also the architecture, and as I've told you guys, massive performance. AMD is saying that 40% performance per watt improvement is there, and also if you talk about the energy efficiency compared to Ryzen 5000 series, there's almost like 62% less power consumption this time. So this is something I'm really looking forward to, what sort of thermals and energy efficiency we can see after we build the PC. You'll anyhow get to know about that. And one more major thing I have to mention is frequency gains. Like AMD wants to give like a tough competition to Intel's 13th gen CPUs, and that is the reason all of the Ryzen 7000 series CPUs can go max boost over 5 GHz guys, like out of the box. You don't even need to like overclock. There's almost like 600 to 800 megahertz uplift from the general frequencies compared to the last gen. So this is also something I'm really excited about to put into a test and check out the real world performance. And lastly guys, much awaited DDR5 RAM support has arrived. PCI Gen 5 support is also introduced, and they've also increased the standard socket power delivery up to like 230 watts. So that's it. These were some of the major improvements we got to see on Ryzen 7000 series CPUs. And as I've told you, we have two brand new CPUs, Ryzen 5 and also Ryzen 9 from the 7000 series. And today we will be building a PC using this Ryzen 5 CPU guys. In the next video, we'll check out the Ryzen 9. So this is AMD's all new Ryzen 5 7600X CPU, 6 core 12 thread guys, and offers like excellent performance. AMD says this is like the new value for money gaming CPU that we'll get to check out in this video. In fact, I was also really looking forward to try it out. So this is the CPU we'll be using. And coming to the motherboard, AMD has sent us Aorus X670E guys, the Aorus Master, and as I've told you, it's got like a brand new AM5 socket. DDR5 RAM is also there. The RAM we are using is from Kingston. It's their Fury Beast that is clocked at 6000 megahertz guys. And for the cooling section, right, TDP is actually like very reasonable on this thing, 105 watt TDP. So you can actually go for something like a simple tower air cooler, or for today's video I'll be using like a 280mm AIO from Corsair. That is like more than enough. That will even work for the Ryzen 9 also guys, according to the energy efficiency rating that AMD has shared with us. And for the GPU, right, we are going with Radeon's RX 6900 XT. So this is going to be like an all AMD Ryzen 7000 series PC build. And lastly, for the power supply, I'll be using an 850 watt power supply from NZXT Gold rated. So that's it. Without wasting any more time, let's get started with the build. Our build is all done and good to go, and there you go our first look at the Ryzen 7000 series gaming PC build featuring their Ryzen 5 7600X. Oh boy, look at that, all black theme with a touch of RGB components on the inside. So without wasting any more time, let's quickly power it on and check out how this baby looks like. Absolutely beautiful, right? As I've told you, it's like an all black themed gaming PC with a touch of RGB components on the inside and looks gorgeous, guys. Look at those RGB components, especially the RAM and also Corsair's AIO cooler. Wow is what I can say, RGB-licious. Just have a look at these beautiful shots and I hope you enjoy the video. And this is the final setup we'll be using for today's test bench. I've paired it with my LG 1080p IPS monitor and peripheral links will be in the description box below. So first of all guys, let's dive into the benchmarks and talk about the performance of Ryzen 5 7600X. As I've told you, 7600X is a 6-core 12-thread CPU, base clock 4.7 GHz and max boost is 5.3 GHz. TDP is 105 watt and recommended cooler was maybe, you can go for an air cooler or 240 AI would be like more than sufficient. So first of all, I ran Geekbench 5 and as you can see, these are the scores. So the single core score came out to be 2176 and multi-core score came out to be like 11373. And I have to say, compared to previous gen Ryzen 5000 series, there's a massive performance gain, I can say. So if you look at the previous gen, last year's Ryzen 5600X, right, it got a single core score of only around 1612 and a multi-core score was somewhere around 8150, guys. So compared to that, the brand new 7000 series Ryzen 5 is almost 42 to 45% improvement, guys, in terms of performance. Now that is the sort of results I was actually looking for. But if you actually look at Intel's i5 12th gen CPU, the 12600K, it was actually like a very close match, guys. So i5 got a single core score of 1858 and a multi-core score of 11636. 7600 definitely beat the i5 in terms of single core performance, but lagged and fell behind Intel's i5 12th gen 12600K. Again though, these tests were done with like very pre-early stage of drivers from AMD. We'll have to wait and see if they'll do any optimizations with the BIOS, drivers and all that in the coming updates. Moving on to Cinebench R23, I've ran a couple of tests, guys, both single core and multi-core performance tests, and Ryzen 5 7600X got a single core score of 1972 and a multi-core score of 15069. Now again guys, compared to the previous gen 5000 series, massive performance improvement, I can say. Last year 5600X only got around like 1593 single core score and 11206 multi-core score. Compared to that, this is like a huge leap in terms of performance. But again guys, same was the case if you compare it with Intel's 12th gen i5, it was still falling behind, guys. Ryzen 7000 series still couldn't keep up with Intel's 12th gen 12600K, especially in the arithmetic and multi-core performance segment. So moving on, let's also talk about the gaming benchmarks. I'll be playing a couple of AAA title games at very high graphic settings, resolution set to 1080p. So we'll see how it performs. So as I've told you guys, we're pairing Ryzen 5 7600X with AMD's Radeon 6900 XT. So very good test bench setup we got over here. And the first game we'll be testing is Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered for PC. We're playing this game at 1080p resolution with all the graphics maxed out, set to very high. And here you go guys, you can actually check out the PC stats for all the details like frame rate and CPU, GPU stats and all of that stuff.
Guys are trying to keep my backup from reaching a scene.
You got it. Almost there.
So as you can see, on an average, this PC was offering around like 115 to 120 FPS, guys, in Spider-Man at 1080p, that too at all the graphics maxed out. Now that is the kind of performance I'm talking about, guys. It's much better than last year's 5600X and offers like a buttery smooth gameplay experience. Look at that gameplay, guys. I didn't face any sorts of lags or stutters. So based on all these testings, initial impressions, I can say 7600X shows a lot of promise. Now again, this is only Ryzen 5 variant, right? So it's mainly targeted for all the budget category gamers. You people will surely be very happy with the performance, considering AMD goes very aggressive with the pricing, especially in the Indian market. I'm like pretty curious to know about the pricing. AMD still has not given any info on the pricing yet. We'll have to wait and see. Anyways, I'll keep you updated in the description box below. Now compared to the previous gen, guys, we are seeing almost like 25 to 30 FPS of improvement on this particular platform. Again, that might be because we are also having an upgrade to the storage, and DDR5 RAM is also paid over here, right? Ryzen 5 5600X was working with DDR4, so that might also add into the increase in the frame rate. So anyways, all of these factors are contributing, and new 7000 series shows definitely lot of promise. Finally, moving on, I've also played GTA 5 game on this setup, guys. We're playing this game at 1080p resolution, all the graphics maxed out, very high ultra settings. And as you can see, on an average, we were getting around like 160, 165 FPS on this test bench setup. And sometimes even hitting around like max 188 FPS, guys. Now that is the kind of performance I'm talking about. AMD guys have definitely worked hard for the 7000 series platform. Kudos to the team. So that is pretty much it, guys. Our initial impressions and testing feedback on Ryzen 7000 series, especially the Ryzen 5 7600X CPU. Now this is looking pretty interesting. I can't wait to compare these brand new AMD CPUs with the competitor Intel CPUs and share all these results in my coming videos. So in my next video, right, we'll be putting the Ryzen 9 7950X to a test and see where that stands in the competition. So stay tuned to the channel for all of these amazing videos, and I'll see you all in my next one.